this will become an annual event. You know, it's not only something, and we have let's see, we have three of our graduates. We have John Sayce over here. John Sayce, who graduated in 1992. We have Zaina Al-Salman. When did you graduate?
2013.
2013, and we have Alam Al-Yaman, who graduated in
2017.
2017. And you know, these, if our graduates can do what our graduates have done, and Elham is on her way. A lot of you know Elham Mahmoudi, and she's on her way. So we have Derek Jenkins, and we have Adi Doza, and on camera we have Mohammed Mahdi Farsiabi from Omaha, who has done a great job as well. So Shushan, why don't we start? And so we're going to do it. Shushan asked me if we have a step stool in the house, and those of you who know us know that we have several step stools in the house, and you know, we're just absolutely delighted to have everybody here. So,
Gail is going to start.
So Gail is you are going to hood whom?
I am going to hood Adit Doza.
Okay, do it.
Okay, well, I'm going to say a little bit about you. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Gail Jensen Summers, and I don't spend a lot of time in the department, but I love working with the students, and Adit Doza was one of my students. And I'd like to tell you that this summer, Adit completed his dissertation. And to date, very few economists have examined the economics of racial and ethnic disparities in mortality and in morbidity among U.S. adults in late midlife. But this is what Adit did in his dissertation. And his dissertation addressed several questions. I just want to put out a few of them. This isn't even a complete list, but what determines death among adults ages 50 to 64, which I would consider an early death? And how important are economic factors in these early deaths? How do race and ethnicity influence the probability of dying in this age range? And also, are there different patterns in the way morbidity unfolds? Morbidity is sort of a general term that refers to many different dimensions of illness, kind of when you look at it all together. And in this age range, how is it that morbidity unfolds? And are there particular patterns? If so, what are they? And do they vary by race and ethnicity? So these are just a few of the questions. These are new questions. You know, we know a lot about older adults, but this age range, this is an age range when chronic conditions often first emerge. And so Adit wanted to look at these questions. And his dissertation provides several new insights that we didn't have before. And I'd like to share two of them with you. This is two of many. But in part of his research, Adit measured how the probability of dying varies across racial ethnic groups after controlling for all these, a rich set of characteristics that we would suspect would influence a death. And he found that 2 financial characteristics of an individual, their household income and whether or not they have health insurance, explain about half of the difference that we see between whites and blacks in this country. So that is a huge portion. Another 50% can be explained by health status characteristics. So these 3 factors, health status and then these 2 financial factors, together explain 90% of the difference between blacks and whites, and that's huge. Adit also uncovered for the very first time that significant differences exist across racial ethnic groups in how morbidity emerges and unfolds. And compared to whites, he found that blacks and Hispanics are much more likely to be dealt a lousy hand. If you want to think of this as a game of cards, they're dealt a lousy hand. In other words, these 2 minority groups are much more likely to experience worse patterns of declining health. And that is a new finding. It's not good news, but it's what you see in 18 years of data from the Health and Retirement Study. So I want to mention that Adit, he had the talent, the skill set, the inspiration, and the dedication to see his dissertation through from conception to fruition. And along the way, he faced challenges, not just econometric and methodological challenges, but he faced personal challenges as well, because life has a way of kind of getting in the way of what may be grand plans that we have for ourselves. But he overcame those personal challenges with a lot of tenacity, and he saw it through to the end. So by the power vested in me by the Graduate School of Wayne State University, I hereby bestow the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of economics on Adit Doza, and I would like to hood him to all the privileges and rights of this PhD that he has now earned. So congratulations, Adit. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Thank you. I owe to all my professors for their valuable support, my colleagues, my friends. Each and everyone has supported me, and there's so many of you who have helped me during my tough times. I'm really grateful to all of you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us. I am now going to be hooding Derek Jenkins. First, I would like to thank you for coming here and experimenting with us with the first hooding ceremony we're having. I am hoping that this serves both as a way for our department to come together and celebrate our PhD program, as well as for all of our PhD students to see what's ahead of them, to see where you're going, to see what you're aiming towards. When we bestow a degree upon you, when we give a PhD to students, not only are we giving you a set of skills and a set of, a degree, but we're also asking you to join us, the hooded faculty, into our profession. And so this ceremony serves as the introduction of you into our profession. I'm hoping all of you look forward to this moment, work hard towards this moment, and get to celebrate it when it arrives. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Derek's work, not in as much detail as Gail did such a great job with Ajit, because I'm still new to this whole graduate advising process. Instead, I'm going to tell you about the fact that Derek is studying a very simple issue. And the issue is, do we waste medical care? How many of you think that we waste medical care? Well, Derek thought, why not look at some procedures that are clearly wasteful and really see whether introducing a better health insurance plan, or a health insurance plan that should be ideally resolving these inefficiencies or these wastes, whether that would actually reduce the waste. So he thought, managed care, right? We all know and love managed care, but the purpose of managed care was to cut out wasteful care, right? To cut out care that was not intended as it ought to have been used. And Derek said, wait, there's a state of Florida that introduced managed care a while back. Why don't we check to see if managed care indeed reduced wasteful procedures? But then he had to figure out what's a wasteful procedure. If I were to ask you what procedure gets wasted, everybody's going to have a different answer. But he had a precise answer. He said, you know, there is a program that was started in the United States that tried to identify procedures that are kind of not very effective for a given condition. In particular, lower back pain. How many people have had lower back pain in their lives? I certainly have had a lot. And every time I get lower back pain, I'm like, wait, should I go to the ED? Or is this just, I lifted something heavy? Which one is it? Is it bad, or is it just, lower back pain? Well, a lot of people go to the ED and they try to get something done for their lower back pain. And lo and behold, the poor doctors are like, I don't know, it's just lower back pain. But the doctors, the poor doctors, they have to do something. They can't just tell you, it's okay, just go home. They have to rule out there's something horrible. And so they do procedures. But those procedures are not effective. They don't tell anything either to the doctor or to the patient. And so what Derek was trying to figure out whether these procedures, there were what, CT scans and MRIs, right?
Yep.
Whether MRIs and CT scans went down after managed care was introduced in Florida. Makes sense, it should, right? Man, no, didn't make any difference. In fact, it didn't reduce the total number of any of these wasteful procedures at all. But what it did do is switch from one type of procedure to another wasteful procedure. So Derek essentially did this type of research in Florida for a couple of different conditions, a couple of different ways of defining what is wasteful, and every time he ended up with the same conclusion. You know, this kind of research is, it kind of seems like almost, a fun story when I tell it this way. But if you have seen the total medical bill in the United States, how much money Americans, what is it, 18% of GDP nowadays? 18% GDP. We're into 4 trillion, I think, to spend on medical care, something like that. Every single dollar that we spend on medical care should be worth something. Should get us something. Because the United States spends the most in the world on medical care, and yet our life expectancy is one of the last among the developed countries. Put those two together, and that makes Derek's dissertation awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask Derek to step up. I got it. I'm going to figure out this jigsaw puzzle of a hood. I'm going to hood him. And I'm going to say, by the power vested by the Graduate School of Wayne State University, I hereby bestow the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of economics on Derek Jenkins and hood him to all the privileges and rights of the profession. Welcome, Derek.
I want to thank everybody who's here, all the students especially, and the professors. It was not an individual endeavor. You know, it takes a lot of advice, and everybody's helped me along the way. And everybody being here also means a lot to me, you know, not being able to do a traditional graduation. So I appreciate everybody coming. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Elham, would you join me? Please join me. Please join me. How are you? You remember this woman, Marty? So this is virtual. So about 10 years ago, so Elham was the first Irani student that we had who got her degree, but she was here already. Okay, and in 2010 or 2011, we brought in a couple of students from Iran. We brought in Mariam Jafari Bidgoli, and we brought in Mohammed Mahdi Farsiabi. And they were a long way from home. And this wonderful woman helped us to welcome them to Detroit and to Wayne State. And she has also served as a fabulous role model for them and for our students. So you know, I can't be happier that you're here today.
Thank you.
It's hard to outdo my colleagues here, and I'm between you and dinner. So I'm going to be fairly brief. Mohammed Mahdi Farsiabi, who is in, are you in Omaha now?
Yes.
So he has been in Omaha, he overcame a lot of issues in one way or another, and Mohammed Mahdi Farsiabi worked with me and with Carol Miller in the graduate school in the Department of Engineering, looking at the impact of environmental problems on various measures of quality of life. And I've spent the better part of my career trying to measure those things, usually very badly and usually very ineffectively. The particular value added that Mahdi brought was trying to measure the impact of behavior to avoid the environmental problem. To give an example, if you have an airport, you could argue that people are going to pay less money if the belly of a 737 is going 50 feet above your house. But on the other hand, deaf people might not mind that. So you might have people selling their property to deaf people in this situation to avoid these kinds of problems. And it was something that I was never smart enough to be able to do, but Mahdi was smart enough to be able to do. And he underwent, again, it took a while. He worked very closely with our colleague Ralph Braid of blessed memory, and it was you know, it was a long but ultimately very productive call, and we're so glad that he's going to be able to do that. So if I can borrow a hood, somebody give me a hood.
Let's take
Elham, would you stand in for Marty? See, I don't have to stand. I don't have to stand on a stool for that. If I can borrow a hood. You can do that.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
On your behalf, Marty.
On your behalf, Marty, by the power vested in me because I am the director of graduate studies, I introduce you to all of the privileges and responsibilities of good and exciting scholarship, and I wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Marty, did you want to say anything?
I wanted to thank you and thank everybody, all of the professors. I'm very grateful for your help. And also I wanted to remember Professor Braid who helped along the way. And I wanted to thank Professor Donagolian and Professor Belzer who came in to help. And along with Professor Miller, we could finish this project and hopefully we go further for more investigation in this case. Thank you everybody for this.
Okay, enjoy yourself. Yes.
Alan, we're bringing the cake out. So
Oh,
everybody
wait, we're bringing the
We're
cake?
bringing the cake out. Tammy's bringing the cake out.
Okay, so
You're gonna feed
Yeah.
them the new method. Virtual
You can
cake.
see it.
no, it's real cake.
Virtual cake. It's real cake, but you get to eat it virtual.
Right there.
Put it over. So
Something to cut it with? Okay. There.
so we have a cake.
Why don't you show?
This has all of the elements of a real pratfall about ready to start here. I don't know whether you can you see this?
Oh wow, that's good.
Yes, looks really good.
I will have a cake also here from your behalf and coffee.
Alan, you should take a picture.
A picture of who, me?
Cake. Here.
We've got a picture of the cake.
Yeah.
All right. Move your thumb up a little.
With my thumb. There.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay, put it here. We should let the graduates cut the cake.
Let the graduates cut the cake.
The new PhDs.
Yeah, you can have dessert before the meal.
I get another one.
Yeah, got another one. Yeah.
I think you moved it.
Anyhow, we're so glad you could join us.
Are these supposed to be?
We've got some goodie bags. David, you brought some goodie bags, did you not? Dean Strauss?
Hi, I'm David Strauss. I have the pleasure of teaching Econ 1000, but I'm also Dean of Students for the university and love teaching. I think that teaching, I don't know if I learn more from the students or they learn more from me. It's wonderful to be with them in the classroom and helps us with student life. But I just want to congratulate you all on behalf of the university and the Office of the Provost. And we also have some fun knickknacks for you to take as Wayne State souvenirs. So we can always, it's all about the swag. And so here's some Wayne State swag for you. So congratulations to you.
David will make up a little swag bag and send it out to Omaha.
Got it right here. Get me the address. I'll get it out to you there.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
And I guess we're done. Thank you very
We
much.
are done.
I bet everybody's hungry.
Everybody probably wondered how I can keep this on.
Okay.
And thank you, Thank you, Gail Shushan and Alan, for your hard work and guiding these students, and congratulations to Adit, Derek, and Mohammed, and thank you, Shushan, for organizing this. Nice job.
Thank you.
Alexi, we have a hot grill. We got stuff to put on it.
Yeah, sorry.
It's been over.
Yeah, all set?